What's going on, everybody? It's Emackey, and you're now tuned in to AAATtv.
Mackey, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good. How about you?
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Thank you for tapping in with us on AAATtv. Tell the world about yourself, brother.
So much. I'm Emackey. I'm a photographer, director, producer. But right now, I'm pretty much focusing on my photography and activism. I've been traveling the country, documenting much of the movement that's happening right now, and currently putting together a photo book that's just going to culminate all this information and put it in some like digestible form for like future generations to be able to understand, you know, the history that we're creating right now.
It sounds like that's the next level, going to be in a museum one of these days. That's a fact. Especially
yeah, that's the hope. That's really the hope, actually.
That definitely sounds like a memorabilia piece right there. So pretty much tell us how you got into photography.
I do a lot of different things. So my undergraduate degree was in fashion design. My master's degree is in film production. So I've always been a person that was creating in some way, whether it was fashion or music or whatever. So back when I got started, I was heavily into music and fashion. And so I would need flyers and like videos and photo shoots and all this type of stuff done. And I couldn't afford to get it done. And then when I could afford it, the people that I were going to was just taking too long. So I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. And I kind of started doing it myself and people started noticing. And then, it was a wrap from there.
I dig that. Now, what school did you go to, if you don't mind me asking?
Undergrad, I went to Florida State, and my graduate studies I did at Full Sail in Orlando.
Got you. Okay. Now, in photography, everyone has their own style, the angles they prefer to shoot in. And me personally, I learned I'm not professional. I'm an inspiring photographer on the low, but we're not going to get into that. I like using that iPhone. So I'm learning how to.
Hey, listen, the best camera is the one you have access to. So that iPhone is a professional weapon right there.
Facts. So now explain to me this. What style of photography would you say you fall under? What angles would you say that works for you?
I can't really say a particular angle because each shot just requires something different to tell the story. But I think the best way to describe me holistically as a photographer is probably more like photojournalist, maybe, particularly with what's going on with the movement. And so, you have a wedding photographer, you have like fashion photography, which I can kind of do some fashion. You got lifestyle. You have like documentary photography, what photojournalists would do. And so I think I would fall more under like a photojournalist, like documentary type style photography, because I just really want to capture what's really there, was really real.
How do you tell your story through photography?
So you know that saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words?
Yes, sir.
That's it right there. It really like in film school, you're trained to tell a story visually. And like part of what we have to do is they give you assignments where you have to tell like stories, like shoot films where you can't use any words, it can't be any dialogue in the music. It can't be anything. So you have to be able to tell a complete story without a person saying anything. And so it's almost like the same thing in the photo where I can take a picture of something or a situation and you can piece together what's happening just by visual cues in the photo. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of different ways that you can, tell a story through a photo.
Narrate that, definitely. Okay. being a person who campaigns to bring about political and social change, can you expound on how witnessing the murder of George Floyd made you, as a Black man, feel seeing yet another Black life being taken by police brutality?
Yeah, but the thing is, it wasn't George Floyd that did it for me. It was Ahmaud Arbery. So
Okay.
what happened was, I mean, you're a Black man, and so I'm sure that we got similar sentiments about it, right? I don't think anybody would disagree that Trayvon Martin was where it kind of shook everybody. We had been seeing murders before, but Trayvon Martin kind of shook everybody. When George Zimmerman got off, it infuriated everybody. And then you have all these other people that came after him that got murdered. And at first, it was like you're upset, you're mad about it, but then you're hopeful that somebody's going to be brought to justice. And then case after case after case after case of paid administrative leaves or no charges or acquittals makes you feel like, you know what, it just ain't going to be no justice for us. Then you kind of get like it's hopeless. Like, why even get mad? And so I think for me, what happened was the pandemic situation where everybody was trapped inside the house. I felt like I actually had this thought in my mind. I was like, yo, nobody Black got killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, since everybody's in the house, I haven't heard any news of any Black person being killed. And then the Ahmaud Arbery story broke. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, everybody trapped in the house. And so I instantly knew, like, I was like, yo, I don't think that people realize that Black people, the Black community, was a sleeping bear that somebody just poked with a stick. I literally made that status on Facebook. And so I decided then, like, I'm going to drive down to Brunswick from Atlanta. It was like 4-hour drive. I'm going to document what's going on with the Ahmaud Arbery situation. And 2 weeks into that, George Floyd got killed. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm an activist now. I got to go to Minneapolis. So that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, no, this is a sad time right now, especially when there's no justice for most of these kind of situations. You know? And as a Black man, it feels like we're no longer just a target. It seems though we're dang near public enemy number one. Like, we pose some kind of serious threat, but it's deeper. It's deeper layers to that. I always say that, you know, of course, we know our history is saying that the first man and woman was Black. You know, we come from royalty. We know we were once prestige, and now we're disenfranchised, but now we're coming back up. It's just something to me that I realized that we actually hold the power. We hold the influence. As long as we have the influence, we have control on what takes place. It's just we don't use it correctly as tools sometimes. It just, you know, it doesn't fall too far, you know, what we want.
But,
you know, can you paint for the viewers the vibe and experience you had in Minneapolis where George Floyd was murdered?
Yeah, so it's not really a way to really say a general thing because every day is different. It's a lot of common threads to when you're out there on the front lines, but it's really vastly different. Like, so the first night that I got there, it was like being inside the movie The Purge. Like, it was legit, like being in The Purge. So I pulled up where everything was happening was like a shopping center. So the Target, if you're familiar with the Target, if you think about when you go to a Target, usually it's in a shopping center. So all this is happening in the shopping center. So you got a Target there. It's another store that was called Cub Foods, another store called Cub Foods. Across the street was a Wendy's. Kind of down from that was the AutoZone. And then the police station was right there. So everything was within walking distance. I parked in the parking lot like I was going to Target, and it's chaos everywhere. So above you, you got a helicopter like flying super low. So the sound is like loud with the beam. In front of you, buildings are on fire. So you see smoke just billowing everywhere. To the right of you, it's like a crash, like you hear glass crashing, somebody throwing a garbage can through the window to like breach the 24-hour fitness. Then behind me, I turn around and it's like these white, like right-wing, like, you know, Trump supporting guys with like assault rifles, like machine guns, standing guarding one of the stores. And behind them, the store owners like look like Middle Eastern people with like machetes. Then it's just like, and then you got people running with like a TV. You got people. I saw somebody trying to take the vending machine out of the out of the fitness place. I'm like, bro, what are you gonna do with that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, and the Target. And the thing about the looting, what I found was like people were actually looting like necessity stuff. Like it was diapers and toilet paper. I was like, yo, I mean, I can't even be mad at that. But that was the first night. Then the next day you come out and it's like a cleanup crew, like thousands of people coming together cleaning up. So it was like the experience on the ground was it's like this. It like shift from day to day, from spot to spot. The energy was kind of a different energy no matter where, like depending on where you were.
Man.
Yeah, it was a lot to process.
Man, that sounded like it was The Purge meets Anchorman.
Yeah, it was crazy. Man. Yeah, it was crazy, man. And it's like when you see a picture, you're looking at one vantage point, right? So if I take a picture of the building that's burning, you're saying, oh shoot, a building was burning. But life happens in 360 degrees and above you. So it's like, it's a helicopter overhead. Like you see this building, but you don't see the machine guns. It was a lot. You can't smell the way it smelled. It smelled like fireworks. And then you got people shooting off those big, huge fireworks. It was a lot. It was a lot going on, man. Like it's a lot. It's a lot.
That sounds like you was definitely in the movie, bro.
Yeah, it felt like it
in the movie. Because even I do security part time, and I was actually close to the downtown area the day it came to Seattle. It was in effect in Seattle, and to be honest with you, the sight of all that, all I saw was mentally ill people or homeless people just in a ride, just destroying whatever. Then you have some protesters, that meant peacefully, but at some point you saw some people that just was there for watch the city to burn. I even thought about becoming a civilian deterrent at one point. I was like, I'm going to have to invest in some riot gear and vest. You know what I mean? It was
see, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
It's definitely dangerous
because you suited up like that, and then the police now see you as a threat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that like you couldn't even do it. But the interesting thing about that is that, and I'm glad you brought that up, it wasn't protesters that's looting. I mean, I'm sure somewhere it was a protester that looted or vandalized, I'm sure somewhere.
Right.
Everywhere that I've been, and I've been to 7 cities. So everywhere that I've been, it's been kind of like an unspoken rule that this thing is peaceful, that we're not going to be throwing rocks, that we're not going to be doing anything. And I'm saying peaceful, but understand peaceful doesn't exclude screaming, yelling, and cursing at the cops. They were screaming, yelling, and cursing now, but it definitely was a push to not do anything violent or like destructive. Because every time I saw somebody try to get like that, I saw the mob of a crowd surround them like, nah, you got to go. Like I've literally seen people get pushed out. So what I found is that there are people that just hate the government and want the government to burn, like anarchists.
Definitely.
And so in a situation like that, where you have a common enemy, which is the police or like the institutional structure, that we're not necessarily saying burn it down. We're saying, yo, fix it. But then you got somebody that's like, nah, burn it all down. And they see that you're angry. It's easy for them to put on some all black, get in the crowd and be like, fuck the police. You know what I'm saying? And AC, whatever they be saying, ACAB, and put that everywhere. And so when they mix in with a message that everybody is saying defund the police and they saying fuck the police, it's easy to blur those people together. And for the media to be like, oh yeah, protesters, like, nah, that wasn't protesters. That was those
protesters. Those
people that were in there. Yeah. I mean, it's not unlike social media where you make a positive post about something and then somebody comes under the post and they're like, yeah, but what about all the black people that kill black people? And what about all the black people that rape white people? Those type of trolls infiltrate the crowds too.
Yeah,
And so a lot of times they pretend to be with you and then they stir stuff up because they know that you're going to get the blame for it. So it's just a lot of instigators. So
it's fair to say that with these chain of events occurring, man, it's no different from an X-Men cartoon on Saturday mornings, to be honest, for me.
Mhm.
Like from what I've noticed, I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's like everything that we've seen on television that was nonfiction has definitely become very fiction. Oh, well, not, I would say it's correct.
that was fictional is becoming
Fictional is now nonfiction.
Yeah.
Now you said you had hit up a few cities. Name those cities for me real quick.
So I've been to Minneapolis. When I left Minneapolis, I went to New York. I left New York and I went back to Minneapolis. Then I went to Houston. Then I went to LA. Then I went to Tallahassee. Of course, I hit up Atlanta. And then I didn't count Atlanta, but then I went to South Florida too. So like Broward County, Miami. So I guess it's 8, but I didn't count home.
Okay. What was New York like?
New York was like New York was kind of like, if you were to imagine what a protest would be like, that's what it was like in New York. Because I went to a protest in Brooklyn. I went to a couple in Brooklyn that they were doing at the Barclays Center. And that was dope. It was really beautiful. I think that by that time that I got there, a lot of like the craziness that the police were doing, they had kind of stopped doing it. And so the police were actually escorting the parade of people to make sure that, you know, everybody was safe. So they were holding up the front end, blocking off traffic as we went. I've actually saw it a couple times where it's a police car that leads the protest to make sure that streets get blocked off and all of that. But it was pretty cool. It was interesting to see like how the people came together, how they kind of marched and advocated. But it was pretty cool. LA was unlike anywhere else. Like in LA, I think they got the protest game like down to a science. It's like in different cities they have this too, but in LA there's a page, an Instagram page you can go to, and it like outlines every protest that's gonna happen that day. So they make the post for the next day. So if I were to go on their page right now, it's probably 10 protests that I could find out that's happening tomorrow on this page. And then every protest is different. So when I was out there, I went to one that was Buddhist monk protest, silent protest. And so you go out there and, you know, you have some of the people in like the Buddhist robes and like the Mortal Kombat looking hats, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the lady, I got a photo of her like this. I'm like, yo, this is so dope. And so they hit the little bell and then everybody comes around. They did like a prayer and then they led the protest. And so it's like, you're used to seeing people screaming, yelling with the megaphone or the bullhorn. And at this, it was silent. So you seeing like hundreds of people with the signs, not saying a word. It was like spooky quiet. And I was like, of all the protests that I've been to, this one spoke the loudest, and nobody said a word, because you have hundreds of people and the street was just quiet. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, it's amazing how like different ways different people like go about doing this stuff, you know?
Right. That's powerful, man. Whew.
Yeah, it just was like,
man. I'm
like, it's like if you to be there, man, and to see all those people and then they're just silent. And then the front row of people were the monks. So it's like they have on their traditional stuff and they're like all walking perfectly side by side. Mm-hmm. And so, it was something to see. It was really something to see. It just be just quiet, like peace. It was crazy.
That's a new level of marketing right there when it comes to protest rallies, boy.
Yeah, man. I mean, it made you pay attention. I mean, every protest like that, when it's a march and it's shutting the street down, makes you pay attention. But it just makes you mentally. It takes you somewhere else to see so many people with powerful signs not saying anything. Like you just had to pay attention and like read the signs. And it was, I don't know how to describe that. I think that there should be more protests like that, just so that people can see how powerful that silence is, you know?
That silence is powerful. Destruction is loud, but silence is peace. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Now, moving forward, you were featured in BET Awards, Dorito Chips commercial.
Mm-hmm.
How did the feature happen? You know, expound on that. What was the experience like? Did you feel even more accomplished? You know, I'm sure you did, but just elaborate.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I got started with this. I just got it started with activism. Like I always had a big mouth and was gonna let you have it if I felt like something was wrong, you know.
Right.
That was me in trouble and detention and all that all through my younger years. So
right.
I wasn't new to speaking out. I'm new to speaking out on like issues in this fashion. So
using it where it need to be.
Yeah. Instructive with it. So with Ahmaud Arbery, like with me going out 2 weeks before George Floyd got killed, it was an experiment. It was like, you know, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do what I can, I'm gonna see where it takes me. And so from day one, everything I put out was crazy viral. So the first photos that I posted from the Ahmaud Arbery rally got like 10,000 shares. And I was like, what? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm doing the right thing. Then the next weekend I went out and I shot a video of this white lady, the older white lady speaking, saying how she used to be racist and she still got work to do. And then it went crazy and D.L. Hughley posted it. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Like I thought maybe a couple people would hear or see my work and that'd be it. But from day one, it's all been going crazy. So the Doritos thing, I'm just saying that to set the stage. So the Doritos thing happened. I got a DM from somebody and they're like, hey, I'm working on a Doritos commercial with BET. I'm working on a commercial with BET or Doritos, something like that. And we came across your work and we were looking for different like activists and creatives. Would you be cool with us using your photos? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Cool. And so he was like, yeah, and would you be okay with being in the commercial? And I'm like, yeah. And so he was like, we like the way that you capture your imagery and everything. That's like the vibe that we're going for. So I was like, okay, cool. So he hit me up and that on a Tuesday. And so that Tuesday night at like 12 a.m., he was like, hey, can you call me now? And so like 12 at night, I called him, was on the phone with the guy for like 6 minutes, realized I needed to be in New York. So I flew myself to New York, first flight out Wednesday morning. Thursday, we shot it. And then it was a wrap. But what it did in terms of like making me feel accomplished is it was just like the same way how I felt when I posted the first like the series of photos that got the 10,000 shares, or posting a video and it goes like these celebrities are posting it. It made me feel like I made the right decision to do this. Like it was a purpose behind me doing it. And not only was it a purpose behind me doing it, I was supposed to do it because I couldn't fathom getting these types of opportunities and only have been doing this for like a month. When it's people that's been out there on the streets for years being activists and they don't get platforms like that. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it made me feel like maybe this was what God wanted me to do. And so he's making like a way for me to be able to accomplish all this stuff because there's something that he needs to be said or seen that he assigned for me to show. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's kind of how it made me feel, was like, you know, the decision to do this was the right decision, you know?
You love our music. You love our culture. But do you love us? Do you see us? Do you hear us now?
We know. You didn't listen.
We sang songs and you didn't listen.
I can't breathe.
And in the fight against systematic racism and inequality, Doritos is committing to amplifying Black voices so you can clearly hear us now.
It's definitely, I've been feeling the same way as well, because I do music. So getting into media, definitely with these chain of events going on, like I grew up admiring most of our, most of our history, like,
Mhm.
Malcolm. My dad used to watch Farrakhan all the time. My dad used to take me to these AA meetings where, I once seen Tommy Davis in there, and he just showed me that simply to tell me as Black men, you never want to break down. You always got to remember who you are and always be the proper representation, each representation of your people. So it's very important that you don't drink, drug. He instilled a lot of morals in me at a young age. So I always follow through with him. Some things, I became an adult. I'm like, yeah, adult gonna do what adult gonna do.
Yeah.
But for the most part, at this moment, like you said, we got a mouth on us. So I was a kid too, always in detention, and mom's always on my head about why you talking in class, but now you have this voice and you use it, and it feels like the tool is finally a good use. So that's one of the things I can definitely relate on with you. You created a GoFundMe to create 200-page photo book titled Lift Every Voice, BLM. Do you want to share a thought behind that project?
Yeah. So, I'm a photographer. So, when you are a photographer at like a certain level, like all the big guys have a photo book. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, oh man, I need to make a photo book. I think I'm dope enough now that I can have a photo book. And so I just never had like a concept behind it or anything to do one. And so a few weeks ago, I realized like, whoa, wait a minute. I shot thousands of photos, like literally thousands of photos. Probably somewhere around like 6,000 or 7,000 since I've been out. And so of them, I have edited like 1,200 or so. So I'm like, man, I got enough photos that I can make a book. And so I was like, well, I don't want the book to just be a pretty book. I want it to really be a actual book that people can learn from. And then from there, it was like, learn from, nah, man, history's happening right now. This is a history book that we could really tell the story as it's being told, like as it's unfolding. And now I'm going to give y'all an exclusive that nobody knows yet, that I haven't posted about or anything. So nobody knows this, but I'm about to share this information. It's no longer going to be just my work. I'm about to open it up and say, look, like from the messages that I've been getting and like the way people are saying, can you put my child's name in it instead of mine when they make a donation? I'm going to make an announcement that I'm like, yo, this ain't about me. It's like bigger than me. So I'm going to do an all call for writers, for photographers, for any creative that was on the ground to share their angle of the story. You know what I'm saying? So that it can really be a fully well-rounded book that says, while this was happening in Minneapolis, this was happening in Atlanta, and this was happening in Seattle. Because like one person can't tell the whole story. It's not possible.
It's a fact. So
I'm gonna open it up for everybody, and I'm gonna make that announcement. Soon.
Thank you for that exclusive right there. That was
yeah. Nobody knows it, so y'all got to get your video up before I get mine up.
AAATtv, I appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a couple of days, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I've been feeling heavy. Like it would be selfish of me to only put my work and try to get all the glory. And I was just like, it's enough glory for me just being the person that put it together. I would be doing history and like the culture and injustice, and all the people that donated that's looking for something that's going to give them, like the people that have donated are looking for like a piece of history to be captured here. And so for me to put myself at the forefront of like, nah, I want only my pictures, that's kind of selfish. And so I'm just like, I got to open it up because there's so much more of the story that's not being told from my perspective. Correct. That, it just wouldn't be right if I didn't do it as a community.
Yeah, it's much bigger than one individual at this point. It's mostly about all of us, our culture, equality. And I'm glad it's getting to this point. It's sad that the leading up to this, lives have to be taken, families are now, broken.
Yeah.
But it's definitely leading to a better cause now. I feel that, finally our people honestly wake up as well and say, hey, it's much bigger than what we're doing out here. I hope the message change, our narrative change, our stereotype changes like at this point. And, that's why, I see people, even with our approach in music, I hope that eventually switches up. because
Mm-hmm.
at this point we need to put out more information and less, you know, I don't want to say crap, but just non-information.
Yeah, that's interesting because like I've heard a couple new songs come out, and I didn't hear them the same. It's
Yeah,
like I'm like, bro, you really talking about this stupid junk right now? You
yeah,
know what
it's not needed, bro. It's really not
Yeah,
needed.
yeah. My response was like, for real, man. We talking about, come on, man.
We
Like
talking
just
about the
right
bottle, we
now.
talking about the plug. We can't. That's not our narrative anymore. That's not our.
Yeah,
That's not even our full representation. Like
yeah,
I was just asking my homegirl, I was like, when is J. Cole drop another project? Like I need to know. So I'm like, when is
yeah. I
Babyface
feel
drop
like
another
he just
project?
dropped a record or something, right? But a couple weeks ago, he dropped a record, and it was going back and forth. But yeah, man, I heard some news because I kind of stopped listening to like the new age rap anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
something came out, and I was like, come on, man. Like in the
Yeah, I don't
video
listen to a, yeah, I
on
don't
my
listen to
timeline,
a
and I'm like,
preview.
this ain't the time for that, man. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely a time and place when it comes to quality music, especially embracing these moments, man. Come on, it's like where's Aaron Hall and
Yeah,
like when when they put those collaborative songs together,
yeah.
where it's the mix of this artist, that artist, don't matter what background they are. We haven't even gotten that yet, so
Mm-hmm.
obviously everybody's chasing that bag. But moving forward, besides the project you have coming, are there any more we can look out for?
Yeah, so actually, I do everything. The way I operate is if you see it, like if you see me posting or talking about it, that's old news. Like I'm working on something else way down the line. So
I got that part covered.
the book is old news. The book is the old news. Even though it's not out, it's not done. I didn't even
But
put
we got the
first page.
exclusive though. We got the exclusive though.
So the book is old news. What really is happening is the book was a seed for a bigger project, which is I'm going to be putting together a exhibit that kind of documents everything that was going on the ground. So movies, videos, like cell phone footage, like real actual stuff that happened from around the country. And so the idea was to get different creators and artists and photographers and just random people on the sidelines, or not sidelines, but on the front lines that were documenting, and bring all this stuff to one place so that you can walk into a gallery and like experience it, because a lot of people weren't able to see that because it was COVID-19 and they were afraid to go out. But this is, I want you to walk in and really see what it was like from our perspective, And so this is, I really want to make it exclusively Black creatives. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we need to tell our story. Now, the book, I want to try to keep it majority Black, but I think the full story, I need to open it all the way up,
Yeah.
But,
I mean, definitely for the
yeah. But the gallery is specifically to raise, uplift our voices as a Black community. You know what I mean? As much as I can, because, there are some things that are so iconic and it may not have been shot by a Black person, but it's still important. But, that is what this is about. So, when the book does well, I'm going to speak that life into it. The proceeds from the book are actually going to put together the exhibit. And so it'll be in DC, New York, Miami, LA, the bigger markets, and it'll travel throughout Black History Month. So,
in Brooklyn, put one in Chicago if you can.
Oh yeah, we're gonna definitely come to New York. That's happening. That's happening. Chicago is on the list too. Actually, Chicago is the one spot that we already have a venue in mind for. So,
oh man,
we already got the venue lined up.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to right there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but nobody except the immediate team that's working, and like a few of the corporate people that I have as clients that I've like, yo, I'm gonna need y'all to put some money up. So, but yeah, the book is basically, planting the seed for a community, get to know who I am, get to know what I'm about, and I guess with me opening it up for other writers and creatives, it's also a recruitment tool for me to be like, oh yeah, they got dope stuff. Let's get them in the exhibit, But overall, the book will be raising money to actually do that show.
Greatly appreciate, man. You're really making a big contribution to not only society, but just just for this cause, man.
Mhm.
Like we're not seeing many step up. Everyone wants to play politics, whether it be in music, sports. You know, our heroes of today are our neighbors.
Mhm.
It's no longer the athlete,
Exactly.
it's no longer the rapper, it's no longer the man that's on the camera. It's really our next door neighbor, you know, our modern day heroes. If anything, man, like, and I've checked out your work before, and I'm highly impressed. I would like to work with you one of these days, definitely. How would you describe your photography in 3 words?
In 3 words, I could do it in one. I just say like, well, just real or truth. You know what I mean? Genuine
Hear that?
or authentic might be a better word.
There
Authentic.
you go. Authentic, genuine. Oh man, it's wholehearted. It's
Yeah,
wholehearted.
yeah. So it's just really, you know, just real. Like I just want to show what's really there, and that's kind of why I was saying like I would describe myself more as like a photojournalist because you're documenting. You're not posing people. Every blue moon, I might pose somebody. Every blue moon, I see somebody holding up a sign, and I might be like, "Hey, turn this way just a little bit," and I pop, got it. But for the most part, it's like I'm really just showing you what's already there. You know, like I got a photo of when I was in Minneapolis. You know, they had the state troopers suited up in the riot gear, and they had like a line of them, and one of them was standing next to a wall, and he kind of had his head down or something like this, looking down, and graffitied on the wall, like right behind him, it said "fuck the police," and it was like he was perfectly like
Lined
stayed
up
right there. And so I was like, "Bam, got it." That's history.
That's not what's really in the moment. I got
Yeah,
you.
and it actually happened. You know what I'm saying? Like that was real. That was an authentic moment of like the art was already there.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, where can you find your work?
So my work, pretty much, you're gonna find the most updated of my work on Instagram because it's just the easiest way for me to keep it updated. I put out content pretty much daily, sometimes multiple times a day. Lately, it's been kind of a lag on it because I'm just overwhelmed. But if people are interested in my work, Instagram is probably the best place. My website, Emackeycreates.com, but I don't really update it. Like my Instagram,
I don't really update it.
yeah, nah. Instagram is where you're gonna find the most updated, like daily, for the most part, updated work.
Hey, ain't no wrong with that. Ain't wrong with that. Now, any shout outs, any last thoughts you'd like to share with us?
Nah, just thank you for thinking enough of me to feel like I was worthy of an interview, and
More than an interview, bro. Like you definitely running around here doing your due diligence, man. I can applaud that, like honestly.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And then the other thing is like, as far as shout outs, just donate to the GoFundMe, because the more money we raise, the more we can do. And I have to ask no corporate people for nothing, you know, that comes with stipulations. The GoFundMe, you just go to my Instagram page, Emackeycreates. Gotcha. And then the link is in the bio. That's the easiest way. What's going on, everybody? My name is Mackey. I am a photographer and activist that has been traveling the country documenting the Black Lives Matter protests. I decided to get into activism a little bit after learning of Ahmaud Arbery's murder because I was frustrated. I just felt like I was tired of crying. I was tired of feeling like there was nothing that I could do. I got tired of feeling hopeless, so I decided to just hit the road with whatever money that I had to go out and document what I could and use my lens as my voice. About 2 weeks into documenting Ahmaud Arbery's rallies, George Floyd was murdered, so I decided to take the money that I had and just fly to Minneapolis and document, and I've basically been on the road ever since, traveling from city to city. Not long ago, I realized that I had enough content that I could actually create a photo book. So I did a little bit of homework. I found out about how much it would cost for me to produce a high quality 200-page photo book myself, publishing it myself, not going through a company, but actually sourcing a printer and putting it together myself. And I realized that it was monstrously expensive. However, I also realized the importance of this project and the importance of the documentation to the culture. So what I decided to do was come to you guys and ask you for help. It's going to cost me about $10,000 to produce the first 500 copies of the book. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be a premium quality book, 200 pages. And that $10,000 pretty much encompasses additional travel for me, hotel accommodations for me to get the last bits of interviews and shots that I need to cover, as well as the printing. Right now, I'm asking you guys to donate whatever you can, $5, $10, $2. It really doesn't matter, because this is something that I feel like needs to get out, and I feel like could be valuable to us as a people. For every single person that donates, your name will be listed in the book. So please do not donate anonymously. Put your name down so you can be recognized. To anyone that donates $50 or more, you will receive a free copy of the book. So please make sure that I have your information so that when the books are printed, I can send you your free copy of the book. Now, the proceeds of the book will go toward an exhibit that I'm working on for Black History Month that will highlight Black creatives that were on the front lines. So this isn't something that I'm doing to get rich. This is genuinely something that I'm doing to give back to the culture and to make things better. If you're interested in seeing my work or coverage of the protest, please feel free to go to my Instagram page. My handle is right here below. Please, if you feel so compelled to do so, share this video. Help me make this book happen. Like, we are literally making a history book. So help me make history with this project. Thanks you so much for all of your time and attention. I appreciate you. Take care.